Hey, friend. Welcome back to the Anchored with Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Wilkinson, and today I'm bringing you one of those super practical mama to mama episodes that I know you're going to want to save and come back to again and again. Today we're talking about family travel, but more specifically, how to pack peace into your trip so that you're not frazzled and exhausted before you even reach your destination. I'm going to walk you through my favorites, my tried and true tips from packing systems to planning meals to the little things that bring calm into what can otherwise be chaos. Because listen, traveling with kids can be stressful, but it doesn't have to steal your joy. This episode is for the mom who wants to feel prepared and present. So let's get to it. Let me start by saying that we do a good bit of traveling. So, we live in upstate New York. My family lives in South Central Pennsylvania, and my kids have gotten used to those 6-hour car rides since each one of them were 6 weeks old. So, we have been doing this for a long time. So, traveling is nothing new for us. And over the years, I've learned some systems and some tricks that have helped us to be successful. And what I have found is that when we prepare a little bit more ahead of time, the trip is so much more peaceful. So when you do a little bit of work on the front end, it opens up space to actually enjoy the trip, to laugh more, rest more, and make those beautiful family memories that we all want. And if you're doing the majority of the prep and planning, which let's be real, most of us moms are, I see you. This one is for you. And let me just say this, okay? Because my friends and I talk about this all the time. A family vacation, like if you're a vacation with kids is not always a vacation for the parents, right? We like to call that a trip. We joke and say it's not a vacation, it's a trip because it's not so relaxing for the parents. Although I have to say, as the kids get older, it really is a little bit more like a vacation. And I'll share a little bit more about that. But let's start out with talking about one of my favorite packing strategies that has just saved me time, space, headaches, and keeps my heart more at peace. And I love having systems for packing. So, first thing, let's talk about packing cubes. Oh my gosh, friend, packing cubes are my love language. I have been using these for years. And if you have never used packing cubes, let this be your moment. In fact, last year I got packing cubes for all of my girlfriends for their birthdays because they're just game changers. They help so much. So I use these for myself. Sometimes we use them for the kids too. It really depends on where we're going and what kind of trip it is. But I know how many packing cubes I can fit in my suitcase or tote, depending on how long we're going somewhere. But okay, if you know, you know. I am someone who I worked in retail for a long time. In my drawers, I like to keep everything nice and folded, and it's all in rainbow order, of course, and it all stands up nicely and is folded nicely. So I just take those items out, put them in my packing cubes, and then when I get to my destination, the whole packing cube just goes right in the drawers. I am done unpacking in like 5 minutes, and I feel more organized that way. I'm not digging through my suitcase looking for things. I know right where everything is. It's all neat and tidy in a drawer, and it just makes my heart happy. It helps so much. I have smaller ones for, intimate apparel. I've got bigger ones for pants and shirts. And oh my goodness, if you don't have them yet, we need to get you some of those. Now, I want to share with you one of my more unconventional packing tips that I've got. So, it really depends on the type of trip we're taking, but I'm going to share this secret with you. Back when Andrew was a baby, that's when I started folding everybody's clothes in a large utility tote. So I think I might have shared this in an episode before. Everyone in the house gets a large utility tote. I fold everybody's laundry right into that. That's my system. Well, oftentimes what happens, especially if we're just going on a trip down to my parents' house, I will fold everybody's laundry after doing like 4 or 5 loads. And that's what we end up taking on the trip. Now, I'll take a look and say, okay, is there enough of everything we need in here? If not, then I just add to it. I also will always throw a bathing suit in because my parents have a pool and a hot tub. So no matter what time of year, the kids always want to be partaking in some sort of water activity there. And I just make sure that we've got what we need. And I've done it for myself too on these trips. It saves so much time. It's so easy. Now, the downfall to that is that I don't have everything in packing cubes when I'm doing it that way. So the unpacking takes a little bit more effort, but if I am crunched for time trying to prepare for the trip, that's one way that just makes it super simple and I love it and it works. Um, it's not one that will work for everybody, I suppose, and it does definitely not work for every single trip. Like I couldn't do that going away somewhere else, but going to my parents, it works. Now, I have another packing tip, and that is giving the kids a packing checklist. Okay, I've got to share with you. I learned this the hard way. As the boys started to get a little bit older, they're now 10 and almost 13, but this was probably, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. I tried this for the first time, letting them pack themselves. Let me tell you what happened. One of my kids, I'm not going to say which one because he'll be embarrassed. I didn't check on what they packed either. It was like a super busy time, and I just was like, they're big kids, though. They know what they need. Wrong, wrong. One of them failed to pack any pants or shorts in general, packed maybe 2 shirts, plenty of socks and underwear, but that was it. And bathing suits. He packed 4 bathing suits. When I tell you my kids love the water activities, I mean it. They love the water activities. So, very serious about the bathing suits, not serious about wearing shorts or pants. He had to wear his brother's shorts and pants for the rest of the trip. And I learned my lesson that I need to give them a list of what to pack. And then I also need to follow up and double check on what they're packing. So, to make this simple for myself, I created a template in Canva, and every time we are getting ready to go for a trip, so this last time we just went to Myrtle Beach for spring break, I took a look at how many nights we were staying, and I put in there, like for clothes, I put, okay, you're going to need 6 pairs of shorts, 2 pairs of pants just in case it gets chilly, 2 hoodies, 6 t-shirts, 4 bathing suits, and I put down, I forget how many pairs of socks and underwear I said. I knew we could also do laundry there, but I give them that packing list so they can check it all off. I also give them a list with what toiletries need to be in their toiletry bags, and we're going to talk about those in a second. And I put in there everything that needs to go in their backpack as well. And I have found that this works so well for us. So I go and double check, and sometimes, somebody's bathing suits are in the wrong drawer. And so somebody has no bathing suits and somebody has all of the bathing suits. So I go and double check and make sure everybody has what they need. And then I help them locate any items they can't find. I've been doing this method now for over a year, maybe even 2 years now. I just edit the template for wherever we're going, for however many nights we're going. And wow, it really helps out. I print it for each kid. The first time I actually gave them a clipboard and a pen so that they could just check everything off as they went. And they loved that. They thought that was super cool, a clipboard. Now I think the one clipboard actually lives in Sean's room because he uses it for everything. But it's just such a handy way to help them pack, and it teaches them how to pack for themselves too. Rather than me just packing for everybody, which guys, that's a lot of work, especially for us working moms, even when I was, staying home. It's a lot of work to pack for everybody, but it teaches them how to be independent. Now, I will give this caveat. I do go in and also make sure like they've got something nice to wear if we're going to church or something like that. Like I want to make sure like what they're packing, like that they've got a couple of outfits that maybe, will coordinate. I'm not saying coordinate with each other. I'm just saying, boys don't always care to match their clothes. So I try and make sure they've got a couple of things that, at least look nice enough together for when we go into public activities. But this works really well for us. So I want to share the next trip, and that is everybody having their own toiletry bag. What a game changer. Nobody is digging through like one giant family bag at bedtime, trying to find the right toothbrush. It teaches them independence, having their own toiletry bag. So my kids each have one with their own name on it. Jeff actually has a matching one. They all three have camo ones. This was back from when I was with 31 and I had gotten everything monogrammed. So they've got theirs. I have my own that matches my luggage. And what I have to tell you, this is the biggest tip I can share with the toiletry bags. We keep them packed. So everybody has their own travel toothbrush, their own travel toothpaste. Those stay in the boys' bags, and then they add anything else that they need. For myself, I keep mine completely packed with everything I could need except for my makeup. I don't have doubles of my makeup yet. That's probably something I'm going to do in the future because I feel like that would make my life so much easier. But what I do is I've got travel sized of all of my skincare products and personal care products. Those all live in my travel case. My Q-tips live in there. I also have a pair of glasses that live in there and contact lenses. I wear daily, so I have enough for a week in there. And what's so nice about that is that's one less thing that I have to pack. That is just always packed. And we travel enough that, gosh, that is just such a big time saver and it's worth it. I can't recommend that enough. One of my other tips for you for packing is having a backpack system. So, this is so that the kids can have what they need in the back seat with them, not looking for things. And the backpack is part of their travel checklist. So, when it comes to what they're packing, that's on there. And I specifically have little line items for each one saying pack your pillow, your blanket. They each one have like their special blanket they like to travel with, their special pillow that they've got to bring. Any stuffed animals they want goes in their backpack. Their chargers go in there, their devices go in there. So if they're bringing an iPad or a Nintendo Switch, whatever it is, it goes in there. And then they're responsible for their backpack and those items. Now, does it keep my car clean? No, it does not. 30 minutes into the trip, that back seat is trashed. There's stuff everywhere. But what it does do on when it's like when we're getting closer to our destination, that's where I can say, okay, everybody pack up your backpacks. Everything that came in your backpack needs to go back in there. And then we're not like looking for pillows and blankets at bedtime. They're all back there and it helps. And then they've got their own backpack. So if we're going to the beach or going somewhere, then they pack their own stuff. So that way I'm not stuck lugging everybody's stuff. They each can carry their own. And that has been super helpful for us. Now, let's talk about packing water. So, this is a non negotiable. I learned this the hard way. Oh my goodness. So, once we were on our way down to Pennsylvania. It was for Thanksgiving. I think Andrew was in pre-K and Sean was just probably 2 years old at the time. And we hit crazy, crazy traffic that we ended up taking a detour through the Catskill Mountains. And the interesting thing about driving through the Catskills is kids that have never been motion sick, turns out when we drive through the mountains, they are. So that day I was rushing around packing. It was like Andrew's Thanksgiving party for his class. So I went in and volunteered for that. And then we left like after it was chaotic. I did not pack enough water for everybody. One of the kids threw up in the car. I did not have enough snacks for everybody. And when I say he threw up in the car, I mean he threw up all over my water cup. And so, like, there went mine. Because I had to give it to him because he didn't have any water. I don't know what I was thinking. So we ran out of water in the car at literally like at the top of one of the mountains in the Catskills, snow on the side of the road, like trying to clean all of this up. Disaster. So now I have learned everybody gets their own full water bottle. I fill them all up before we leave. Sometimes the kids help me, but it just depends on what time of day we're leaving. If it's an early morning, I like to fill them up so that way all the kids have to do is like brush their teeth, eat breakfast, get dressed, and go. But I make sure everyone has one. And then we also have backup water as well. And tying into that, we're going to talk about snacks because we always have snacks for the road packed in the car. And again, this came from a learning experience, that dreadful Thanksgiving trip driving through the Catskills. I looked in like the little like thermal I had packed ahead of time. All I had in there was like leftover turkey. And when I say turkey, I mean deli turkey from Andrew's Thanksgiving party that day. So I have learned we have to pack snacks. So I pack snacks for everybody, including like I try and throw in some healthy options. Like one of my kids is obsessed with grapes. One likes applesauce pouches. I try and throw some of those in there. I try and throw in some protein options, but then I will say we also will pack like whatever kind of snacks will get the kids through, like goldfish crackers. I hate to say it, but Doritos, that kind of stuff. And that helps to save. Do we stop on the road for snacks? We do. We have our favorite stops that we like to make. Shout out to Sheets and Wawa. Those are our favorites. And so everybody has their favorite thing they like to get there. But we're not spending a fortune getting overpriced water and getting all of the snacks at those different stops. And of course, I have snacks for Jeff and myself. Now, talking about food, let's talk about planning meals. So, if we are going somewhere where we're renting like a condo or a house, we like to pre plan a few meals and even do a grocery pickup near the destination. This just makes life super simple and helpful, especially when we're traveling with kids. So, I'll share with you, I did already share spring break, we went to Myrtle Beach. We went with really good friends of ours, and we have two kids. They have four kids. So we talked ahead of time and said, okay, taking six kids out for every meal is going to be a little chaotic. Let's talk about what kind of things we want to plan for dinner. And we had decided each family would cook two dinners, and then we would do like pizza one night and kind of figure that out. And that worked really well for us. So we packed food, like some like stuff we already had here, and then did grocery pickup. We had breakfasts already, like everything we needed for breakfast in the condo, which was great. We did end up going out to breakfast a couple of mornings, once with all of the kids, once without all of the kids, which was really nice. But it made it a lot simpler. Just everybody could eat when they woke up. They could eat what they wanted. We had all of their favorite foods, and that was helpful. For lunches, same thing. We packed or did grocery pickup for everything for lunches for everyone. A couple of days, I think maybe only one day actually, we got lunch like poolside at the resort. And I think one day when we were out and about, we let them do a drive through, which they were really excited about. And then when it comes to dinners, it really was helpful that each family just took on two dinners, and it made it so much simpler. If you have ever taken the kids out to dinner, you know that sometimes it can be a lot. And we knew that with six kids, it would be a lot. So we made things that were crowd pleasers that most of the kids liked. And then we also had backup, like we always have pasta or mac and cheese along with whatever we're making for dinner, because that helps. And the great thing was, it just made it so simple. We had fun, like we were cooking together. Just it makes a difference, and it saves money, and it saves you on stress. Stress from worrying that maybe your picky eater won't like what's being served at a restaurant, or the stress of just trying to get everybody to be on their best behavior and using table manners. It just makes it so much easier. I'm a big fan of that. So, next let's talk about some safety and just how I am when it comes to rest stops and things. So, before we leave, I always make sure that Sean's Gizmo watch is fully charged and on his wrist. If you've never heard of a Gizmo, it's a watch that also he's got a phone number so I can call him. Only people in the app can call him, and he can only call or text people in the app, which is really helpful. But it also has GPS, so I can see exactly where he is. So, and I also make sure that Andrew's phone is charged and with him. This is especially important when we stop at rest stops or gas stations or other crowded places. It gives me peace knowing that if we get separated at all, that I can call them, I can track them if necessary. And we always kind of talk through a simple like, all right, if we get separated, like, call mom, we'll be fine. And I am a little bit of a nut, but I always try and make sure to lead them to a family restroom. I do not like that, they want to use the men's room now. They're, 10 and almost 13, but still, if it's possible, I try and lead them towards a family restroom. So that way I know right where they are. I'm not ready to let go yet. It's wild. Now, I know that this isn't a super faith heavy episode, but one thing I'm trying to build in for us on vacation is a little bit of sacred space. So I still make sure that I bring along everything for my daily faith practice. I bring my journal, and I don't always bring all of my devotionals. Sometimes I'll just bring one. So I've got that. And then I make sure that I've got, my iPad, which is where I use some of my different Bible apps. But I make sure that I build that time in because I know my day just goes better when I have that daily faith time with God, when I start my day with a cup of coffee with God. And I love doing that on vacation, especially when we're going to the beach. Oh my goodness, this last trip, sitting on the balcony, watching the sun come up, doing my journaling that way, like, oh, I just felt so much closer to God that way. It's amazing. And guys, there's like something just so spiritual about seeing the sun coming up over the ocean. So I love doing that. Something else that I have been trying to build in, and I will admit I'm not perfect. I was not good at this in the past, but working on it now is looking up a parish where we can go to Mass if we're there over a Sunday. So, this last trip we went on, we actually found a St. Andrew's Catholic Church, which was very exciting for us because we had never seen a St. Andrew's Catholic Church. So, I tried to use that as oh my gosh, Andrew, they've got a St. Andrew's. That's perfect. It was like 3 blocks from the condo we were staying in. It was perfect. We went there for Palm Sunday Mass. It was a beautiful experience. And wow, it was crazy packed, which was awesome to see. But it just helped to keep us centered. Were the kids thrilled about, their first full day on vacation, going to Mass first thing? They weren't thrilled about it, but it helped us get our vacation started the right way. And it was just so cool to be in a different parish and get to see how they do things. So I like to look things up like this on masstimes.org. And you just put in where you're going, and it shows you all of the different churches near you. And so that one was the one that was closest to us, which worked out great. So, as we wrap this up, I just want to say whether you're headed to the beach, the mountains, to your family's house, or just doing day trips this summer, remember this: peace doesn't just happen on a trip, peace is something that you can make happen. You don't need the perfect plan, you don't need to be super mom, but with some intention, a little preparation, and a whole lot of grace, that's where the joy lives. So breathe. You've got this. And hey, maybe bookmark this episode or share it with a friend before your next trip. It just might make the difference between frazzled and fun. And here's what I'm going to ask. If this episode was helpful to you today, would you please leave me a quick review or send it to another mom? This is what really helps other women out there find this podcast. And don't forget, you can come hang out with me in the Anchored with Purpose tribe on Facebook. And if you want a copy of my packing list, shoot me an email. It's just melissa@anchoredwithpurpose.com. And until next time, travel light, pack peace, and stay anchored in purpose. Thanks so much.